business case. What is this? What exactly are we talking about when we say business case? So a business case really is just a document, is a detailed document that helps the organization to decide if they're going to go ahead with a project. So what usually happens is regulatory requirements might come in to say, oh, this bank has to adhere to certain rules. The organization might be interested in coming up with something that helps them to solve a problem, respond to a regulatory requirement, or maybe even improve their ways of working, right? And as a result, they're going to have to decide if the approach they are going to use to embark on that project or achieve that goal, they're going to decide if it's feasible, if it makes sense for them, if it's going to help them, and the financial implications as well. And what are the other options out there that they could actually look at to help them implement the project. Now, when that happens, they have to do a research, come up with a document, and the document will have all the information they need, including a recommendation of what to do, what not to do. And that's what a business case basically is all about. When we're looking at a business case, there's usually an approach that you can follow to write a business case. And here I'm just going to talk about a very high level approach. There's a detailed approach that you can follow, but I'm just going to focus on the high level approach because the goal is let's get you in there writing business cases, understanding what the makeup is, and having that experience of actually writing one. So when you're looking at a business case, one of the key things you want to do is you're looking at all the different opportunities that are out there. You're helping to get a better sense of what the project is about. You're looking at ways around solving that problem, ways around improving the organization, ways around responding to the regulatory requirements. So you define the opportunity and what that looks like for the business. But then you don't just sit there and do that, right? There's also the point where you have to help the business understand why they are doing this. You have to get to justify. Now, the justification bit is not solely your responsibility. It's something you do in conjunction with other people because you have to justify the investment required. You have to justify the people that will be required to carry out this whole piece of work. If we decide to go ahead with the project, you have to justify the length of time that the business is going to experience some disruption when they're trying to implement the project and all of those things. So there's a lot of things that you need to justify. So you need to create a compelling reason, to back up the recommendations and suggestions to your stakeholders who are usually very senior. And then the other thing is there's a lot of back-end work that happens before you get to the point where you are providing recommendations. And that back-end work relies on a lot of information. So you're gathering information around suppliers, what features their products or services have that makes them better than the other supplier. You're gathering information of how you actually decided you're going to select one supplier over another. Financial information too is being gathered. So there are a lot of things that, information that you need to get together to help you demonstrate why you're giving a recommendation for them to proceed with something or to do nothing. Content that you'll find in your business case, right, will be things like executive summary, which is always the last thing you write, even though it's the first thing you see in your document. A definition of what the current situation looks like for the organization, any cost and benefit analysis that you've done. So the cost of providing the service, the cost of people that are going to be involved in the project, the cost of running that service, the cost from the suppliers, and then the benefit that comes to the business as a result of doing the project or not doing the project, whatever the decision is, right? So you also want to look at the different options that are available. Why supplier A versus supplier B and things like that. I've sort of switched them the other way around. Then investment appraisal. Now, this isn't really your job. The finance business partner will be the one to come up with this beautiful financial information to say, based on going along with this particular project, this is how long it's going to take us to recoup our investment in the project. And then impact analysis. Now, when you're carrying out the start of a project, right? Before you get into implementing the project, you always need to carry out an impact analysis just to understand the implications and how it's going to affect the organization as a whole. Then you also want to have an understanding of the risk associated with what you'll be doing, and then your recommendation. Your appendix obviously will cover all the key things that you've used to carry out the information. So basically, why do we need a business case? It's important, right? The key reason, like I said earlier, was we need a business case to help us determine if we're going to go ahead with the project or not. And if we're going to go ahead with it, what the implications are for us doing that, the cost implication and all of that. And your job as a business analyst really is to create a document that helps the organization to decide or understand how feasible a project is, before they actually embark on that project, how viable it is. And so when you're looking at creating a business case, you're helping the organization understand the importance of the great business case, the viability of the business case. You're looking at how that business case can help support whatever they're going to do afterwards. If we need to do more research into, what outcomes we found before we go on the project, or if you just need to just get on with it, do the project since we have an idea of what it entails and all that. And then it also helps organizations to rank different projects that will be running side by side. So most of the time when an organization is embarking on a project, they would usually have more than one project happening at the same time. And so this helps them to almost create like a must have, should have, could have for the project. So they're able to decide this is the project to start first because it's a quick win, or this is the project we're going to do last because the investment is very heavy. And if we do all the other projects first, we might actually see benefits that will help us minimize the investment on project XYZ further down the line. So that's the quick whistle stop tour of business case, what it's all about, what we're trying to achieve with the business case.